Hello there, Algebra students. This is Mr. Kashi speaking. With this video, we're going through our next section, 11.2, and we're going to spend 2 days on this. This first one is going to be all about vertex form, and so it's a little different form. There's three different forms of a quadratic formula that we're going to be studying, or quadratic equation that we're going to be studying. This is the vertex form. What the vertex form obviously tells you is what the vertex is. So the vertex is always going to be HK. That is the point in which we use that. And then this is the equation that we use. So this H is the X term of our vertex, and this K is the Y term of our vertex. So there's just there's a couple of graphs here that I wanted to go through and show you. So we have something called the parent function, which is the simplest function for each family of functions. But here we're just talking about quadratics. So here we have y equals x squared. This is the parent function of quadratics. But to write it in vertex form, I know it's a little silly, but we're going to say y equals x minus 0 squared plus 0, because this gives us our vertex of 0, 0. So you can tell that the vertex is here. That's how we know that this is the graph of the parent function starting at the origin there. For this blue graph here, this would be y equals x minus 0 squared plus 3, because our vertex right there is 0, 3. So that's how we know that this is the equation for this parabola. Now we don't write in the minus 0, the plus 0, the minus 0, okay, but we almost write them in to make it easier to find which vertex this, which parabola this is. So here we'd have y equals x minus 5 squared plus 0, because this would be a 5, 0. That's our vertex right there. Now, one thing that I want to make sure that you know is that when you take a look at the equation at first, it's always opposite, because we have this minus h right here. So we always say that it's opposite in the parentheses. Okay, so what I mean by that is we have x minus 5 squared. Well, that's technically a positive 5 here. And we're going to go through some examples showing you why that is. But I just want to, you know what I mean by opposite in the parentheses. It looks like a negative 5 here, but we're actually using it as a positive 5 when we're talking about the vertex point itself. So here's an example. They give us the equation in vertex form. I'm just going to rewrite it here. We have x minus 0 squared minus 3. So that would mean that our vertex is 0, 3. So here I want to make sure that we put our vertex in the middle, just like we did last time. And I could even plot that right away. Oh, sorry, yep, it should be negative 3, because that's a negative 3. So that's our vertex. And then we do 2 before and 2 after. So I'm going to do negative 2, negative 1, 0, 1, and 2. And hopefully you remember that we don't have to do all of these. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to do the easier one. So I have 1 squared minus 3. Well, 1 minus 3, that would be negative 2. And I have 2 squared minus 3. That would be 4 minus 3. That would be 1. And then we can reflect these up. So this should be a negative 2. And that should be a 1. And then I can just go ahead and plot those points on my graph. So I have 2, 1. I have 1, negative 2. I have negative 1, negative 2. I have negative 2 and 1. Those are my 5 points that I need for my for my parabola. And then I just go ahead and draw in my, been practicing here. Drawing my parabola is much better than the last few videos. Good. All right. So don't really need to fill these in, right? The vertex is always going to be in the middle here, and that tells us what the vertex is right from the get-go, because these are in vertex form. So hopefully, we're going to talk more about this in our next video, but hopefully you see this minus 3, how if we were to start in the middle, if we were to start with our parent function, all we did was slide everything down 3 spaces. But that'll be something that we talk about more in the next video. In this case, for this example, I'm not going to rewrite the whole thing. I'm just going to kind of put a plus 0 at the end. So that means our vertex would be -2, 0. Remember, it's always opposite in the parentheses. So it looks like a positive 2, but it's a -2. So we're going to put -2, 0 here. And -2, 0, we're going to plot that right there for our vertex. Then we do 2 before and 2 after, so this would be -4, -3, -2, -1, and 0. And then we can plug in whichever one that we want. I'm going to plug in -1 plus 2 squared, so -1 plus 2, that'd be 1. 1 squared would be 1. Here we'd have 0 plus 2 squared. Well, 2 squared, that would be 4. And then because our vertex is in the middle, we can reflect these numbers up here due to our symmetry of a parabola. So here we have -4, 4. Got a point there. -3, 1. -1, 1. And 0, 4. Just like that. And then we can draw in our parabola just like that. In Alex, while you're plotting these, and I might be creating another video that shows you this. You just have to plot these 5 points, and then there's a little button that has like X's like this and a line like that you want to click on it'll connect all the points and make that curve for you. So the last example, we slid up and down. Hopefully you can see this example just slid to the left 2 spaces. Now we're going to put this all together. So here we have x minus 3 squared plus 5. And so our vertex here, remember it's opposite in the parentheses, so it would be a +3, 5. So 3 and 5 go here. 3 and 5 goes right there. That would be our vertex. And then we have to go 2 before and 2 after, so this would be 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now what you would do is I would choose, once again, you don't have to do this one, because this is where our vertex is. We already know what y is, so we don't have to plug it in. You always want to choose the easiest numbers to plug in. Now, we have an x minus 3 here, so in all reality, it's easier to plug in the 4 and the 5, so we don't have to deal with negatives. So here, 4 minus 3, that would be 1. 1 squared would be 1. 1 plus 5, that would be 6. If I were to go up here, I would have to deal with these negatives. But in this case, I don't. I'd want to actually plug in something bigger than 3. So 5 minus 3 would be 2. 2 squared, that would be 4. 4 plus 5, that would be 9. And then we are reflecting these up due to our axis of symmetry. So then we can plug these in. We have 1, 9, 2, 6, 4, 6, and 5, 9. And then we have to just connect those through to make the shape of our parabola. So this is kind of putting this in. Hopefully you can see that if we were to start at the origin, because of the x minus 3 squared, we moved over 3 spots, and then the plus 5, we moved up 5 spots. But hopefully you can see too that even though we move to the right plus 3 in our equation, it says x minus 3. That's kind of the confusing part. That's where we're always going to be reminding that it's always opposite in the parentheses. So hopefully these examples helped, and your assignment is dealing with just graphing parabolas just like this using Vertex Form.